Before we begin today's episode, here's a special message from Martin.
So coming up, I have two very new and exciting ways that I'm connecting in the world, in community. The first being that beginning in October, I'll be offering a community clinic 2 days a week. It will be Tuesday evenings and Sunday mornings. This community clinic will be offered in a way that allows the patient to pay whatever they can. Whatever you're able to offer me in exchange for acupuncture care, I gratefully accept. The second part is that a new part of my work in the world is doing creative projects for people. And on my website, a kind of new category, art making and design. And it, in essence, breaks down into the mosaic work, the furniture making, the outdoor projects, and lastly, woodwork. There's a gallery on the website that shows all the various projects that I've done over the last several years to give you a sense of the kind of work that I do. If you're interested in talking to me about a project you'd like made, I'd love to talk to you about it.
To check out more on the Community Acupuncture Clinic, as well as art making and design, please visit martinperkins.com. And now, onto our episode. Things need not have happened to be true. Tales and dreams are the shadow truths that will endure when mere facts are dust and ash and forgot. Sandman, Book 3, The Dream Country, issue number 19. Welcome back to Language of the Soul, conversations on healing and growth. I'm Ben Umstead.
And I'm Martin Perkins. The truth of our lives dwells beyond facts. They lie in the kinds of stories we're living in. Are they big stories? Are they little stories? Are they vibrant stories that fill our hearts? Are they challenging stories that help us cultivate our inner wisdom? Are they living stories that nurture our practice of life? Or are they old, stuck stories of what was? Are they stories that ground us here in the moment? Or are they flights into the future without a foundation, being laid in the present, filled with anxiety, worry, or avoidance of the present? This is the inquiry into our creative beings that serves us in helping to set a course of exploration into the shadow truths dwelling within us. In this podcast, we are sharing storytelling within the loose framework of a piece of art, in this case, an episode from the TV show The Bear, to offer a recipe for creativity. We've begun this process by presenting that creativity does, or even must, arise from these shadow truths within us, or it simply isn't creative nor true.
Because this episode of the podcast is in essence a multimedia offering, we ask that you go watch Season 2, Episode 4 of The Bear, titled Honeydew. Even if you aren't a watcher of the show, this is a self-contained episode that is available on Hulu. If you do not have Hulu, you can try a free trial, or you can ask a family member or a friend to share the episode with you if they have an account.
We ask that you let yourself feel what we are discussing without really understanding fully where you're being led. Mere facts are born of and destined to, as we shared above, to the scrap heap of ash and forgottenness. The truth of our being, especially in times of great change and suffering, needs our creative wisdom as its grounding, or it will all feel quite purposeless. That notion that life is purposeless unless we are connected to creative purpose sits squarely at the center of the quandary before us all. How do we nurture hope in times such as these? Here is our inquiry into that question. And here are some questions and approaches to frame the episode as an opportunity to heal and grow. How do we heal and grow without fixating on a problem? How do we play a game without winning nor losing? How do we bring healthy judgment into our creative being? Can we let go of real solutions for real problems in our lives? One way to address this is to solve a problem through poetry. Let the words come without thought nor sensibility. Let go of the fix. Let go into the incomprehensible nature of creative wisdom. And how this will work is we will be listing, as we are apt with any recipe, with the ingredients. These ingredients will be offered in the context of the TV show itself.
And now we present honeydew as a recipe for creativity.
And the first ingredient is change in its many forms. So the show begins with activity, construction, building, creating, deep cleaning, the stress of destruction, of deconstruction of a place. We see Sugar's stress and ultimate release around her pregnancy come out with the wall collapsing. It then transitions to Copenhagen, representing a change of scenery, a shift in perspective, a completely new place. Deeply connected to change in its many forms, but really its own separate ingredient within the realm of creativity is excitement, balanced with a depth of intention. The show uses the song Holiday Road as a way to bring the quality of excitement and newness to Marcus as he's traveling to Copenhagen and arriving at the boat. How do we bring freshness and excitement to our creative lives? How do we juxtapose this with the notion of showing up no matter what around being inspired? William Faulkner offered this when asked about inspiration. I make sure I'm inspired each morning at 9 a.m.
Once Marcus arrives at the boat that will be his home during his stay in Copenhagen, Holiday Road fades. The boat makes this loud, creaking sound, marking the grounded reality of his arrival in the moment. The sounds of the boat are pliable, flexible, versus the hard, clattering, ramming sounds of the construction that we heard at the beginning of the episode. Our next ingredient is letting go of getting it right. Marcus has a deep love of something, and he holds this even in the moments that he's with his dying mother. The way that Marcus is intimate with his mom, laying his life out, asking his mother, who's nonverbal, if she has any ideas for the 3 really great desserts he must create upon his return to Chicago. His openness here, his openness to being with his mom as a whole person, when so many people would compartmentalize how they're feeling and compartmentalize the person in a life to death transition, speaks to that letting go and speaks to that great love that he shares with purpose, with vulnerability. So Marcus arrives early at the restaurant he's been assigned to. He's getting there at 5 a.m. And everyday duties at the restaurant may seem intense, but it is a process and a practice that has a quality of getting out of our own way, making the flour, rolling the dough, trying to make new dishes, tasting new dishes. There's an intimacy and a detail to the way that Marcus and his teacher Luca work. When we see all the elements of a dish, we see that each element tells a story. It is intentional. This learning cycle, tasting dishes, making dishes, happens over and over and over again. And doubt is present. Marcus says, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. Luca tells him, just be confident about it. Don't second guess yourself. There's the moment with the gelée. And Marcus looks on his phone. He's stressed. He's confused. Luca gives him index cards with the recipe. It's simple, it's direct, it's off the screen. It offers a focus and a depth that Marcus hadn't considered before. Another part of this ingredient is how Marcus and Luca share life experiences, how they open up during their practice each morning. Marcus asks Luca, how did you get good at this? Luca answers, honestly, I made a lot of mistakes. Just fuck up? Marcus asks. It might be just fuck up, Luca states.
And that is in many ways where our next ingredient takes us. The practice of better. Luca realizes that we aren't the best and will never be the best. From there, we can truly let go and be the better we need to be. We explore our genius rather than seeking to be the expert. At some point, it becomes less about skill and more about being open. This idea of being better is about being restful, of being balanced in how we explore our passions. As Luca shares, at a certain stage, it's less about skill and more about being open to yourself, the world, other people.
We cut to Marcus exploring Copenhagen, visiting the restaurant's farm, exploring the ingredients there, taking meals at restaurants, walking around and taking in the culture, the architecture. He goes back to the dessert he failed at on the first day, and being better, he feels proud of himself as he steps out into the world. There's a confidence through his practice and presence that's suffused. There's a work-life balance occurring here. There is an inner joy that is then expressed outwardly because he is practicing better.
All of this really beautifully reflects how all too often a creative process can get caught up in getting it right and perfect. And we watch instead how Marcus, being so open and fluid, embodies that practice of being better. On to the next ingredient, what we're calling quiet and the night. The night representing that which is within the creative process, but also deep within us as the unknowing, a key ingredient of the creative process. Acknowledging that all we need to know is within us and will arise from the unknowing when it's needed. A wonderful symbol of the night, of the quiet, is the cat. Does the cat exist? Does it matter whether or not the cat exists? And what does this represent to Marcus? From the moment that Luca and Marcus meet early in the morning in the kitchen, there's a sense of quiet. There's that pristine nature of the early, early morning. Creativity needs that element of quiet. That said, the quiet we're talking about is not isolation. It's not separation. It's connected within the quiet with something different within us. I offer that thing we're in contact with is the unknowing, the great mysteries that exist within all of us, not out in the world, but within each of us. And the question is, how will we be with that quiet, with that mystery? Because that is a key ingredient of the creative process. Deeply connected to quiet in the night as an ingredient is allowing spirit, or the unknowable, into the process of creativity itself. And as I presented earlier, does Coco, the cat, does she exist? At one point, Marcus, speaking to himself, says, I don't think there is a fucking cat. It's a kind of mental inquiry into the mystery itself. At another point, as Marcus is speaking with his mother on the phone from Copenhagen, we know Mom's there. We know Mom's listening. But Mom can't talk. So there's a connection there. There's a knowing that there's an interaction going on. But it's just Marcus speaking. At yet another point, Marcus describes to Luca that Mikey, being out of his mind, decided to open a bakery in the sandwich shop. Being out of one's mind is yet another quality, often necessary, to create in today's world. And that's in many ways what we mean about allowing spirit, allowing the unknowable into the process.
Our next ingredient is immediacy and simplicity. At night, Marcus coming home to the boat, he hears someone shout help. The cyclist that is trapped in the metal fencing represents this sense of immediacy and simplicity. Once Marcus has disentangled the man from the metal fence, what does the man do? He gives Marcus a humongous hug. He holds Marcus for a prolonged period of time in this deeply grateful hug. Marcus is a little befuddled by this. He asks, is it a good idea for you to get back on the bike? This is not even a question for the man. Accidents happen. We get back on the bike. This is another key ingredient of the creative process.
Our next ingredient is grief and loss as a transformational aspect in creativity. Any creative possibility, whether we're fully or even in any way aware of it, begins with a willingness to let go, to grieve on some level, let go. Sometimes we're letting go of something. Sometimes we're letting go into something. I would offer that in Marcus's case, it's both. So he's letting go into the reality of his mother's ongoing and chronic health issue, and at the same time letting go into this passion for baking for desserts. Throughout the episode, there's a kind of melancholia that we're carried in and out of.
In that moment where Marcus is honest about the nightmare that he has where his mother is dead, he's able to be honest about that nightmare, to see it as it is, because he's letting it out, because he's in practice with himself, with that deep love that he holds. So as we enter the final moments of the episode, there's Marcus on his own in the kitchen. There's the quiet, the intimacy, the ingredients that we've all become familiar with. Piece by piece, he is now making his own dish from all the things he's picked up along this journey in Copenhagen. And he's feeling proud of himself. There's that joy, there's that conviction that comes in that moment when he tastes his creation.
Marcus has undergone a process where on some level he's welcomed in a part of his life that was always there, but he had to get out of his own way. That is what the end song, Welcome, by Harmonia and Eno, illuminates. The quality of possibility, of hopefulness. So I encourage you, come back now to the healing and growth questions. Pick up a pen, a pencil, a pad, a keyboard, journal into it. Feel your answers flowing rather than thinking your way through them. Allow the answer to arise without thought. Just feel the answers. At a certain point, you'll stop answering the questions, and the pen will guide you. Let that happen. Let your soul guide you into a writing interplay around the nature of creativity and creative life force as it exists within you. The answers, whatever answers there may be, they're inside you.